Hi, in this optional lecture, we're talking a little bit about temperature, and it's mainly about, we have the feeling it's cold or it's warm, and as you can see on the picture here on the right side, me in the snow. And I remember always when I was a little kid that my mother always was complaining I should put on a jacket or a cap or a hat or whatever, and I was feeling already very warm and hot and didn't want to wear this. And so we always have this, that you think it's warm or cold and the other person think it's not the same what you have. So this is just a feeling, and with this, I think it's necessary that we need something that gives us data about how cold or warm it is. And this is done by putting in something like what we call temperature, and what we have already learned in our lessons and what you all know. And so several people in the past already were worried about how to measure the temperature, how to measure how cold or warm it is. And one of the people who were doing this was the scientist under Celsius, who lived from 1701 till 1744, so he didn't get too old. But he was developing the so-called Celsius scale in 742, so it's quite a long time ago. And he used two fixed points for the scale, 0 degrees Celsius and 100 degrees Celsius. Now, the funny thing was that for some reason, I don't understand why, but Celsius actually used the 0 degrees Celsius for the boiling point of water and the 100 degrees of Celsius for the freezing point of water, which is kind of really strange in my opinion and many other people. But anyway, that was how he was doing it. And but you already recognize that you have to put in the air pressure about that. This can be different depending on, or you have to put in the air pressure that it's kind of, that you really need to take this into account. And then Carl von Linne, 1 year after the death of Celsius, finally he turned around the Celsius scale and he put the 0 degrees Celsius to what we know today. That's the freezing point of water. Again, if the air pressure is the right one of 760 millimeter per mercury, what we had before, and the boiling point was put to 100 degrees Celsius. Now on the right side, you see a typical thermometer. This is actually an old one. It still has some mercury in here. And you can see at the time of recording, it was a nice sunny day over here. So we had 26 degrees Celsius, which was very pleasant to do the recording because it was not too hot. And in the past, we used a lot, and I was familiar with this as a child. This is the thermometer from my childhood. Again, this is still with mercury, what we try to avoid today, because mercury is not very healthy or so if you have it. And if one of these old thermometers for measuring fever broke, it was not nice because the mercury was going all around. Kids like to play with it, and it's something also that should be avoided today. And I also still remember, I never did this definitely, but it was typical that if you didn't want to go to school because you had an exam or so, and you were claiming you had fever, your mother started to measure with this thermometer if you have fever, and you learned all kind of tricks to make the temperature rise a little bit more, kind of a signing that you had fever and you could stay home or so. But mothers usually were more clever, so they could avoid that you were playing around with these thermometers. They got a little bit more digital over time, so this is a more modern one, which are still in use. I don't want to go into where these temperatures were measured on what body parts, and I think all of you know, at least since probably Corona or other diseases or so that you had, infections and so on, that you can now do measurements of your body temperature without actually getting into touch with your body. And there's different ways or so to do this in another way or so even. You still don't lose any kind of accuracy on that. The other thing is that you can do in science, you can use more interesting thermometers. They are now electronically what you have them. The good thing is that you don't have then afterwards to write down what temperature you're measuring. Here you see that I put up a glass of hot water over here. I put the thermometer in there, and then you start the measurement, and that you can see now that the temperature is rising. It was originally, as I said, it was when I was doing this video, it was about 25 to 26 degrees Celsius. So the water had this temperature, and then you put in the thermometer and you measure the temperature. And after a while, the thermometer actually came to the point that it was around a bit, according to what you have over here, around 55 degrees Celsius. And this is how you can do then really your exact measurements on that. Now, also, somebody else, there were more people, but one of the quite well-known ones was Gabriel Fahrenheit, a German scientist who lived around the same time as Celsius. He did all the stuff a little bit earlier. He visited one time Ole Christensen, Roma, and this guy already had, also another scientist, he already had used 2 fixed points for temperature, and Fahrenheit started to make use of that. And what he did was that he used the 0 degrees Fahrenheit for the lowest temperature he actually could measure and could reproduce, and that was done with an ice-salt mixture. And that is this time was what you would call today, it's minus 17.8 degrees Celsius. And with this, the freezing point of water was 32 degrees Celsius. And he also used the body temperature and assigned this to 96 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the old measurements or so. So this is like all, he would not correct, had not correctly the body temperature at that time, but that doesn't matter right now for this. Anyway, what you have over here now is you have the 2 temperature scales, the Fahrenheit and the Celsius scale. And I think you can already see what I mentioned in the other video, that it's, I think Celsius is a little bit easier because it's much nicer to have these degrees, 0 degrees Celsius, 100 degrees Celsius or so, that you use this for water, instead of that you have to keep in mind 32 degrees Fahrenheit. But whatever, if you're used to it, it might be kind of okay. For me, it's much easier with the Celsius scale on that. As I showed you already in the other video or so, there was an exhibition. Fahrenheit was in Gdansk in Poland, and they had an exhibition on him, what I showed you in the other video. And they also have in the pedestrian zone, they have as a little to memorize him a little bit better, to have a memory of him. They have this thermometer in this huge thermometer, as you can see in the city, in the pedestrian zone. And if you look a little bit closer, you can see that you have here the Fahrenheit and the degree Celsius scale parallel to each other. Now, as you've seen that the scales are quite different with the numbers, there's the conversion of units, what you can do to, because sometimes you need to know what is the degree Celsius, what is the degrees Fahrenheit. And the calculations are that if you want to calculate Fahrenheit from temperature in Celsius, you have to take the temperature in Celsius, have to multiply it by 9 divided by 5, and add 32, or the other way around, you have the degree Celsius, and then you have to do Fahrenheit minus 32, and then multiply it with 5 divided by 9, which I think is kind of not so nice if you have to do this. I think some of you are smart enough to do this in your head. I'm struggling a bit with this, and as I said already, I can highly recommend that you use one of these apps to do this. Here you could see that you have, for example, 25 degrees Celsius for 77 degrees Fahrenheit, or you have 100 degrees Celsius, 212 degrees Fahrenheit, and 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And so you can just do this and you get accurate measurements not measurements, but you get accurate conversions of these units, which makes it easier. You can use an app, or you can also use just if you work on your computer, it's actually working. You have like these possibilities very easily to convert this, and you should use it. Besides that, you probably can also do some work and do calculations by hand, but definitely to make sure that everything is okay, use one of these apps or use your computer to do the conversions on that. Yeah, and with this, I would like to close this optional session. And you see here in big red, this is that unit conversion is something what is extremely important, and you should really take good care of that. I will show you in the other lessons or so that why this is extremely important, because your life might depend on that, or other people's life might depend on it, or it can be extremely expensive if you screw up in that. So definitely make sure that if you're working in any kind of experiments or in any kind of daily life where you have to deal with something like that, make sure that your unit conversions are correctly, and definitely something is if you're not working in mathematics, it's only that you have just the numbers, normally most of the time. But in all other areas, with a few exceptions, you always have numbers and units. So, for example, we have the degree Celsius, the degree Fahrenheit. So always keep these numbers and units together. Never, ever take them apart and just use the number, because that screws up all your calculations a lot of times, and you make a lot of mistakes, and that can lead really to big, big problems. Okay, that was it for the optional lecture, and I see you in the next lecture.